Attacker motives can be broken down into a few different areas. First off, and usually the most prevalent, the most obvious, is financial. If you can steal money from somebody without having to use a gun, without having to even leave your couch, you may be inclined to go into that sort of criminal activity. But there are other motivations for attackers. One in particular would be ideology. These are often known as hacktivists, and they walk that line between doing good and doing bad, where they may go after a organization that is doing something bad, or even a government that is doing something bad, but they're still breaking the law by hacking into those networks, hacking into those organizations. But oftentimes they're motivated for ideological reasons, whether it's religion, politics, you name it. We've all had an argument about something, and there is likely a hacker out there willing to hack to support their side of the argument. Another area is coercion. So we're seeing a lot more insider attacks where the user has already been compromised in some way, or the employee has been compromised in some way, and they then allow the attacker to get in, whether that's them supplying credentials or just agreeing to saying, hey, when you log in as me, I will push the multi-factor approval button, and then you can go do whatever you plan to do. So the coercion part really is starting to take hold as companies have stronger defenses from the outside. And then finally, ego. And the ego-based attacks are more of a throwback to the older days when people would get in and deface a website, or maybe send moderately harmless virus through the internet. We do see those from time to time, especially newer hackers or things like that. But those are often not as damaging as the other motivations that criminals will use. The the other side to all of this is the psychological tactics that the hackers will use to breach systems. As stated before and as well documented out there, the use of phishing emails is still a very effective method. And the reason that it's so effective, though, is that it does a few things. One, often appeals to a person's need to be helpful, can display the possibility that this is from a position of authority. So it might look like it comes from the owner of your company, head of security at your bank. And then they often create a sense of urgency to get the person off balance. Our approach here at SecurePoint Solutions is a little bit different when it comes to training on security awareness. We do employ the phishing tests, the video trainings that are often required or expected, but we take a different outlook to this. Where possible, we will work with a company, do security testing, and then take the results of those tests and reach out to end users and see if we can host, whether it's a in-person get-together, lunch and learn, or coffee, or if it could be a webinar where we could still have some coffee or something brought in. And we sit down with these individuals and we ask them, we talk about security, just the importance of the security and what they're supposed to do. And then at some point, we will actually pull out the emails that we used for testing. And we don't target those that failed the test. We actually ask the people that maybe reported it and say, so why did you not click on this? Why did you report it as a phish? And they often will say the domain looked weird or there was grammar errors. So rather than singling out those that failed the test, they can actually watch somebody who passed it educate the group. So at that point, we just become the facilitator of the conversation. And we have found with a few customers that those people that can spot the phish and can report those, they almost become an extension of our security team. Rather than sending something on to us, they may say, hey, I had Becky or somebody report that one because they asked me to take a look at it. So instead of us having to do it, we have an employee helping out another employee. And that also builds a better security culture within that company.